Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Health Babes podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Crystal Hone, and I'm joined by my dearest friend, Dr. Becky Campbell. Boy, do we have some stories for you guys today to fill you in on what's going on in our life. It's been nuts the past couple weeks, hasn't it?
Yeah, it really has. I wish I had something more exciting to tell, but
I'm serious. We're like, we got to get on the podcast and just talk about what the heck's been going on because life has been crazy, especially for you, Beck, with
yeah.
everything you've been going through. So, how do we want to start this? Should we just get into the beginning?
Well, yeah. So I wanted to do this episode because so many people are going through this, and I
Yeah.
wanted to give you as much information as I could to help you not go through everything I just went through with mold. So most of this is going to be about mold, and then there's some other stuff going on. So I'm very sensitive to mold. I've talked about that as being part of my story. It's my biggest mast cell trigger. Why are you looking at me like that? Oh, are you frozen?
You just froze.
We keep
You're not
freezing.
anymore.
Crystal's in the
This
middle of a
thing,
storm.
guys, I'm in the middle of a storm. The internet keeps going in and out. Life is, gosh, can't something go right this week?
Okay, so so I bought this house in 2021, and shortly after I started noticing one of the closets, which is where my office was. So I don't know if for anyone who watches the show, you'll see I used to have a different background, and that was my office. So the closet in there had a smell, and it was like a mildewy smell. And I'm one of those people that I can smell mold from a mile away when most people can't smell it. And so I started, getting on, okay, where is this coming from? It's very hard to find a good inspector, a good mold
Yeah.
inspector. Most mold inspectors will do, an air sample, which unless you're right there in the mold, you're not going to get, I think you have about 3 feet, and then you're not going to pick it up. So anyway, I knew it was something going on. I didn't know exactly the extent of it. And Crystal and I were talking about it a lot. And so basically, the closet backs up to a bathroom. So they share a wall, the closet and the bathroom. And in that wall is all the piping for the bathroom. So you would think, okay, the closet smells. Maybe there's like a leak in the piping in the wall. So
And
anyway, go ahead.
let's preface this though. When Becky first moved into her house, and I had gone out there to visit her a couple times. Well, this one time where she's been in her new house, she's like, I just don't feel right. Ever since I just wanted to preface that
Yeah.
because it's important. She came from a house that she knows there wasn't any mold. She never had an issue like, with that type of thing. And then she comes into this new house and she's like, I just feel tired. And we remember when
And
we
that internal trembling,
yes,
constant
yes.
internal trembling. So like anxiety, sort of,
Mhm.
but you're anxious like in your own body. You don't feel
It's
comfortable in your own
exhausting.
body. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we were like, okay, there's a lot of the previous owners to her home had a lot of devices and things like that. So we were like, okay, it's a lot of Wi-Fi. So we were getting a lot of EMF blocking devices and things like that to see if that made her feel better, which it did, right?
Hmm.
It did, but it wasn't like the root, right?
Yeah.
So, okay. So I didn't mean to cut you off, but I wanted to
No, that's
that.
good because let me talk about my symptoms. So
Yeah.
in it, and it's gotten worse over time. So this house was built in 2018, and I bought it in 21. So it's very clean looking.
It's
No one would
beautiful. You would
no
never
one
know.
no one would suspect mold here.
No.
The only reason I suspected it was the smell, and I did not feel well. I remember laying in here the first night I moved in and just shaking inside. And I was like, gosh, and they had cameras everywhere. They had the Nest
Yeah.
cameras and the Nest thermostats and all the things. And I got everything off of Wi-Fi because, we've had people talk about this before, being sensitive to EMFs, and I am sensitive to EMFs, not crazy sensitive, but I just thought maybe that was the problem. But EMFs do make mold grow faster, just side note.
Right.
So I took everything I could off of Wi-Fi. I got this blocker, this kind of, it's called a detox cube. It helps block
Mhm.
EMFs. And I did feel better. I didn't feel perfect, but I felt better than
Mhm.
I had. So anyway, over time, I started to really become aware of that smell. I thought it was just a closed up closet smell.
Mhm.
And then I'm
Mhm.
like, gosh, this smells like mold, which
And
most people would say mildew.
that closet like is in the same room that she used to see patients in, that
Yeah,
she used to, right? Because now it's different.
virtually.
Exactly. That's what I mean.
But yeah, and I was having trouble, and for me, mold really affects my vision bad.
Right.
It makes
Right.
me have headaches and makes my vision off, and I was seeing patients virtually all day
In that
long,
room.
sitting in that room, and I was having a really hard time doing my patients because I was having to look at the computer so much, and it was really hard for me. And it would just, I was getting very tired anyway. So as time has gone on, I really realized that is a mold smell. That is,
Mhm.
and just so mycotoxins, which are like the mold poop, some people call, but like they're just little toxins that mold will, spit out, and they spit out other things too, like other VOCs and stuff. But mycotoxins don't have a smell. So but mold does. But anyway, so I didn't know, you don't know what the whole story is. You just know that there's got to be mold somewhere. And so I hired an inspector. I tried to find one that I thought would be really so Crystal keeps freezing because she's in a snowstorm. There she is. Okay. So I
Here I
pushed
am.
pause. So we're
Guys, I'm
back.
back.
So I tried to find an inspector that I thought would be thorough.
Mhm.
So the first inspector, they did outside air sample compared to inside, which you do want to do because if the inside's higher, there's a problem. We're always going to find mold outside. It was, but it wasn't screaming, And then they did surface samples, but my house is so clean. He's like, I can't even get dust from your house. He
Yep.
couldn't do the mycotoxins test. He's like, it's not coming out because you have no dust. So, um, and even the good inspect or even that inspector was like, I think you're okay. Like they drilled a hole in the wall, right? The behind the closet and swab sampled that, but that isn't that good of an idea because you're just
Yeah.
swabbing
You got to get
debris,
in there. Mhm.
Then but they did say that they found mold on my air conditioning. They found it on the blades and on the unit. So then I had the person that they recommended come look at my air conditioning unit, and they said, no, I mean, that's mold, but it's a normal amount of mold. Everybody has mold on their AC unit. You don't have much mold at all. There's really nothing wrong with your AC unit. You just need it cleaned and you need the lights. And then another company came out. I knew something was wrong. I was like, I don't trust this. I don't trust
Mhm.
what he's saying. I don't trust what they're saying. And then someone wanted to come in. There's this paint you can put on that supposedly you can't get any mold from that. But I was like, I don't know. It was
Yeah.
all very
Yeah.
expensive. And it just didn't seem to me like this is the answer, right? And I'm normally okay, let's do that type of person. I don't mull over things, but
Yeah.
I was just nothing felt right.
Yeah.
So I finally had so then I hired another company to come cut a hole in the wall, like a big square in the wall. They cut that, they opened up the wall, and they're like, "You have the cleanest walls. There's definitely no mold in here." And I said, "Well, put your camera in there."
Yeah.
Because it was hard because it was all the piping, so you couldn't really freely see around in the wall. And when he did that, there was black. I saw
Yeah.
black and I said, there's black up there. I want to see what that is. So he reached his hand up and he pulled off the drywall a little bit. And he goes, that's not mold. That is scraping from like where they pick up the drywall. And I'm like, really? I don't know. That looks like mold to me, but it was hard to tell.
Yeah.
Um, it didn't have a smell, whatever. So we patched the wall back up. They're like, no, your walls are fine. Then I had two different air companies come out. Then I had a third air conditioning company come out and they're like, you have a leak in each one of your units. I have 2 units.
Ugh, yeah.
And they showed me video of the leak. It's definitely leaking. So the other 2
Mhm.
companies missed the leak. They wanted to leave the units, said it was fine. Leave the units. Let's just spray this, put this light on, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so I have figured out that the air conditioning is a problem because the units are both leaking. And in the coils of the air conditioning unit, it is completely rusted.
Yeah.
And those coils are known to hold a lot of mold. So I think that there's probably a lot of mold in there. So number one, I have to get those replaced next week.
Mhm.
But before I get into that, so I had another environmental specialist
So
come out
how
to
many
the
are
house.
we at by
We're at
now?
we're at 3 now.
3. Yeah.
I had them come out and he noticed that in the shower that backed up to the office, in the grout between the tile under the window. So the window's here and the water hits, like it kind of runs down and it would hit that window. He's like, your grout is missing in spots. And it was just little spots. Like you would have never noticed that. And he said, you're probably getting water in there. And he had some meter and he was putting the meter on the wall and the meter was going crazy under the window.
Mhm.
So, long story short, I took matters into my own hands because none of the inspectors or remediators thought there was an issue. I
Mhm.
hired someone to come knock down the tile in my bathroom and knock down the wall between my bathroom and my closet because I knew I was not crazy. And I knew that you have to, the moral of all this is to trust the way you feel
Trust your
and
gut.
trust your
Yes.
gut. If you think that there is something, keep looking for it. And this is
Right.
dramatic. Like my insurance company's like, you went about this all wrong. And I'm like, well, would you guys have come in here and started knocking all this stuff down? I doubt it.
Right.
So anyway, I am trying to get my insurance to pay for it. So what I would have done the next time is called them first. So
Yeah. It's a
tip
learning
tip
experience.
number
Yeah.
1, call your
Yeah.
insurance company first. But and then you have them send out someone and have them be there for the process of knocking it down and then finding the mold and then all that. And then they will pay for it. So anyway, so I had someone come last week. Okay, so we're
This is where it gets
this is
wild.
where it gets fun. So I have it planned last
Oh.
week, right? Was it last
Yeah, it was.
Saturday? They were going to
Yes.
start the remediation and I was going to fly to California to speak about mold on the Mind Pump podcast, okay? So, I'm going to have this done while I'm there. I'm thinking it's going to be a quick thing.
She's
Well,
not feeling well, like just from the
well,
mold
my
and just from
son
the,
was sick.
yeah.
Levi was sick with the flu that week and I was like, I don't get sick, really.
Yeah.
I don't get that my kids could have the flu. I don't get it. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I
You're
don't
nervous.
know. I don't
You're like,
know. I
I
have
don't
to
know if I
fly
can
all the
gamble
way.
this.
Yeah, I have to
I'm going to
fly
be
all
on
the way.
Mind Pump barfing and having a sore throat and fever. I don't know if I can do this. Beck was
Yeah.
calling. She was just like, I can't make this decision. This is so hard. Well, what happened?
Yeah. So I had to decide Friday if I was going to cancel the trip, assuming I was going to get sick, or if I was going to assume that I wasn't going to get sick and just go. So I decided on Friday to cancel the trip. Saturday, I woke up with the stomach flu. I was throwing up all day long. They're at my house starting the remediation process, but I
For
wouldn't
the
let them
mold.
knock any, yeah, I wouldn't let them knock anything down because I didn't want to be here.
Right.
And you guys know, listening, a lot of you guys have all this stuff going on. I had to juggle 3 kids, a trip, 2 dogs. Like this was, I had it all planned. This was supposed to go smoothly. And so it starts with the stomach bug. Thank God I canceled because I would have been on the plane to California, which is about a 9-hour trip total.
Yes.
Um, and then, so anyway, they start knocking stuff down when I leave. I was able to leave on Sunday and go stay with someone. I left. They start knocking down the tiles, mold back there. And it was white, just so you know, it wasn't
Mhm.
black. It was
Mhm.
white and it turned out to be aspergillus right under the window, high levels, over 1 million spores in one swab under the window.
Mhm. Mhm.
Then some black mold down more further on under the tile, and then behind the vanity was on the wall that shared the wall with the closet. So they pulled the vanity out, black mold all over the wood that was behind the wall.
And we
So
don't know yet if was the leak was from the shower or the
no,
toilet.
we do. We know what it is.
Okay.
So there was no pipes leaking. There was
Okay.
no pipes, but I have high humidity in my house because of the leaks in my AC unit. So
Mhm.
my house is 66% humidity. Mold thrives in that type of humidity. It
And you
doesn't
live in
feel like that
Florida.
in here. It feels
Yeah.
cold in here because I always have the air on, cold. But yeah, and I live in Florida where it's so humid. So what happened is the water was getting in behind the tile, going down the wall, and then mold spreads.
Mhm.
Once mold finds a cozy home inside a house, it wants that spot, so you're gonna get other types of mold, and they're gonna compete for that area, so they're gonna spread further and further and further to try to say, "Hey, this is my space, stay out of here." So they found 2 different types of mold in behind the wall and behind the tile, and so then behind the wall where I had seen that black when the guy cut it out and told me it wasn't mold, it was. We swabbed it, it was mold, it was Aspergillus. Um, and I forget which other one it was, but anyway, there was very, very high levels in there. So I luckily had this done and it was kind of a nightmare. So I ended up getting COVID. This-
You guys, so she is throwing up on Saturday.
yeah.
After that, she starts to not feel good and then gets COVID, like a
Yeah.
fever. And then
Yeah.
it keep going. Just
So I
keep
get a
going.
fever and a sore throat. My boyfriend has a sore throat, and I'm thinking I'm recovering from the stomach flu. And then I'm like, "Oh, I'm getting a sore throat." I get a fever. I'm thinking I must have the flu because Levi had the flu.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I let my fever run. I try to let
Yeah.
my fever go at least to 102-ish before I will do anything to bring it down. So I'm like hallucinating and trying to deal with the mold because I'm communicating with the company the whole time that's doing the stuff in my bathroom. I have to have a I have to then get my insurance company to go out there and do an inspection with everything open, and I have to try to get this done fast so that I can get back in my house because my kids are supposed to come home, and anyway, I hired my own inspector because I don't trust the insurance company's inspector, and he did a great job. He's the one that found he did the swabs, he gave me a really good report, um and he was good. So, but I had to still open up the walls myself in order for that to happen is the point. So, if we would have just relied on air samples and swabbing before knocking the wall down, we wouldn't have found this because
Mm-mm.
everyone was like, "You have a little bit of mold, but it's nothing, like it's just normal." And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Mm-mm, no, I
Mm.
smell it. I no."
And
So,
not every mold you smell that's toxic either. So
right.
thank God for you that you were a little detective there
Yeah.
because a lot of it is you can't smell and detect. It's
Right.
very much hidden. So
Yeah.
it's a difficult process is the moral of the story. So
Yeah.
we're right there with you, you guys, when we talk about this stuff.
It is. It's a very difficult process, and I paid a lot of money to have this done, and I don't have that money just to throw away like that.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping the insurance company will pay for this. I had to put in a claim and I have to go through all the steps, but so what I would do over is I would talk to the insurance company first, and if they weren't willing to go into the walls, I would let them know I was going to do that so they can come out, take pictures and stuff first. Then you have the whoever's going to open up the walls or wherever you assume it is, and then let the insurance company take pictures of that and all the things because that's what they're saying is I should have called them first. So anyway, so that's what's been going on. it became a whole, we had to literally knock down the whole wall on the bathroom side, and then the person doing the job didn't wanna knock down the closet side wall, and I'm like, "Well, that's where all the mold is on that side
Yeah.
also," so I had to have him go into the room and knock down that, and then you have to worry too about, well, stirring things up,
Yes.
so when they were just doing the bathroom, I have a door that leads to the outside, so they were able to block off that whole bathroom and just go outside. Well, once it moved into the house, they blocked off the air vents because that's important, but they couldn't completely block off the door because they had to get in and out. So, I was really careful. I made them get air scrubbers. I made them do everything that we possibly could. You have to treat the air too. So we're still in the process of all this. This is still all going
In
on.
the middle of it all. It's not
Yeah,
done yet. Yeah.
it's not done. I ended up with with COVID, I ended up getting strep throat.
You guys.
So, I had a fever 6 days in a row trying to deal with
Not
all
funny,
this.
but my God, when it rains, it
I
pours.
know. And then coming home, the mold was already gone and out and everything, but there was the other VOCs from the new stuff they put in and the paint and all this stuff, so when you have mast cell activation syndrome like I do, you're very sensitive. Well, I'm sensitive to that stuff anyway. Well, add COVID or some other type of virus on top of it, my immune system was shot.
Mm,
So I
rampant.
came back to the house and I've been slowly like recovering, and they're still working on getting the new stuff put in, but the mold and everything is out. But so, I always tell people you got to get rid of your stuff and all that.
Mhm.
And so I'll tell you what I've done so far. So I got rid of everything in the bathroom. I got rid of the vanity because the vanity is wood and that's porous and mycotoxins can get in there and live in there. The mirror, everything. They knocked the walls down, so those are new. I had to buy all new tile, and I bought those, what are they called? Solid surface
Yep,
tiles?
the solid surface for the shower. It's nice because it's less grout, you guys.
Yeah,
Ever redoing anything, it's easier to clean, less space for mold to grow. If there
yeah.
is moisture, you got to think about that stuff with the construction.
Yep, and also we realized that when they built this house, they did not insulate the bathrooms properly. So
Yeah.
instead of putting like drywall and then green board, and then they put this red kind of paint stuff on there that's really helpful. They didn't do any of that. So we literally just had regular drywall in there,
Oh
which
my goodness.
mold loves drywall. It is food for the mold. So it can mold with any moisture, and then that food, you're going to get that mold to grow. So we had to redo the bathroom properly, and now I'm gonna have to redo all the bathrooms because I know that all the bathrooms are not properly done, but I will call my insurance company first this
So this is the
time.
bathroom that was
Yeah,
close to her office, not her bathroom in her master bedroom where she's sleeping. So can you
right.
imagine, Beck,
Yeah.
how you feel if you were sleeping next to all of that? You
I
know what
would
I mean?
feel the way I did when I
Yeah.
was really, really sick. I think this is the reason I've been able to still go on and be okay because number 1, I do my sauna every
Yes.
day. I
Which has
think the
been
sauna is
life-saving.
life changing for me. I,
Mhm.
take certain things that help me support my liver all the time.
Yeah.
And I've dabbled with binders on and off. I'm gonna hit binders hard now that
You're
I know
gonna
the
have
mold's gone,
to.
but I didn't wanna do that while I had a feeling I was still living in the mold, and I didn't wanna do antifungals while I had a feeling I was still in the mold. So now that I'm done with, that, if you guys go back to our episode, I don't know how many episodes ago it was, but it wasn't that far back, maybe 10 to
Mm-mm.
20 episodes. I go through like a whole protocol of what you do when
With
you
mold.
with to your body when you have mold. But the first thing I did also before I went into the walls, by the way, is I tested my body and I had
Mhm.
high mycotoxins in there.
Yes.
And then I want to real quick circle back to like your stuff, So I have, we tell people this, and I think people think, oh, it's easy for you to say. But I'm telling you myself, I have a nice bed that I was not cheap in that room because I ended up making that room my son's room when I that's why it's not my office anymore. But then I haven't let him sleep in there because I knew something was going on, but I put furniture in there for him. Anyway, the bed, I got rid of the bed, got rid of the bed frame, got rid of the dresser. because it's all like, think of a mattress, all those mycotoxins, especially when you expose, like when you start messing with the mold, mycotoxins go everywhere. So anything, and basically the room is gutted. There's nothing in the room. There was a little bit of carpet on the floor. There was wood shelving in the closet. I had them take that all out. I'm not putting it
Yeah.
back in because I don't trust it. I had
Mm-mm.
them rip up the carpet in there, and I'm gonna have to replace that. I haven't even gotten there, and I'm gonna have to put something in the closet to make it functional. But anyway, the bed's going, the dresser's going, everything, even the clothes that were in the dresser, I tried washing them, and I'm just like, You know what? No," because I'm that sensitive.
Yes,
So,
she's one that just cannot be around any of it. Genetically, she does not do well with it, being
yeah.
exposed to it. So you may be thinking, "Oh my goodness, well, I know I've thought about mold, but I don't really, react to things." Or maybe your husband really reacts, but you don't. I mean, we're all different, you guys, when it
Mhm.
comes to this stuff. So she's one that just is so sensitive, and it's just insane, this whole process since you moved into this house.
Yeah. And Levi's sensitive.
Yeah.
He has nosebleeds, he
Yeah.
has headaches, he doesn't feel right when he's in that room. That's why we've just not been using the room while I was
Yeah.
trying to figure all this out and figure out who I can trust and what do I do. And basically, I had to just do it myself. I mean, unfortunately, and that's not to say that there aren't really good inspectors out there. There are,
Yeah.
Michael Rubino and Brian Carr, great resources. But I needed someone close to me, and I know enough on my own, I think, that I felt comfortable kind of going in the way I did, but
And we've
it's
had help through the process, with
yeah,
our connections. So it's
yeah,
nice to have that, but they are great and I do believe they do travel too, if you
yeah.
do need someone.
Yeah, yeah. So, and I might even call them still because I think
Mhm.
that, maybe there's not an issue now, but knowing that the bathrooms weren't done right, I think I have to do some things to my house. So it's not cheap. The insurance company isn't going to replace my air conditioning. So, you know, what I realized is when I moved into this house, the people living here had no maintenance thing set up on the air conditioning. There was no
Yeah.
one coming to look at them. The filters were so old. There was filters in places there shouldn't be filters. So I had all that taken care of, but it was 3 years of that before me.
Right.
So, these are all things just I wish I would have known. I wish I would have listened to someone who said this stuff. So, getting getting a service for air conditioner, making sure that they're not a lot of AC people don't know anything about mold, but there are some companies that do.
Mhm.
And unfortunately, even with those companies, I still really didn't get the right answers because 2 of
Mhm.
the 3 companies missed the leak. So,
It's so
anyway,
hard.
the point is that sometimes it's easy and sometimes it's not, but you don't give up because you have to look and you have to trust your gut. And if you don't feel well and everyone else around you is gaslighting you, which is what they did to me, even though I'm like a mold specialist for
Yeah.
bodies. They were like, "You're silly. You don't have mold. This house is too clean." I'm like, "Okay, yes, I do."
And then we
Um,
were going down the rabbit hole of, oh gosh, I'm just going to move, right? But you
yeah.
guys, even in the process of moving, you need to, if you're going to buy a house, get that inspected because you don't know what's hidden. I mean, your house looks like a brand new house,
Yeah.
Becky.
And
So we
even
would have
cutting
never,
into my walls, people couldn't find it, and
yes.
that was the only reason I was willing to move without doing this, by the way. I would never put this on someone else,
No,
but
yeah.
no one could find anything.
Yes,
And I was
yes,
like, "Okay, I gotta just move because no one else is as sensitive as I am,
yes.
and if no one can find anything, I just gotta get out of here." But then I was
Yeah.
like, "No, I'm gonna find this." So,
Mhm. It's
anyway.
crazy. So
It is,
crazy.
and you can be in a brand new house. It doesn't matter how
Mhm.
old the house is. This can happen to any house. So, I don't know anything about bathroom
No,
construction. I wouldn't have noticed the grout missing between those tiles.
no,
So, it's little things. So, start looking. If you're seeing visible mold, I guarantee you underneath there's a bigger problem. Also, when they were doing the demo, they said, "You don't need to worry about the floor, the shower floor. There's no mold gonna be under there." And then the inspector said, you need to lift up that shower floor. And we did. And there was
And it was
tons
black.
of mold underneath it. So,
And then didn't he say it smelled really
oh,
bad?
yeah.
Like
He said
it
when he
smells.
lifted the floor, it stunk bad. So that's
Yes.
when you could smell the mold coming out. So, anyway, you know, smell around. Like if you can smell something, it is there. This
A
is proof.
problem. Yes.
If you don't feel well and you notice it's mostly when you're in your house, even if you don't smell anything, get an inspection, but get an inspection from someone who's reputable. Michael does have a company, and I think it's dust.com if you want to just like test your dust. But again, that wasn't an option really for me. And then we use like a lab. We do use different labs. It depends on what's going on with the person, but you testing your body is a good way. But I could never really show mold on a test until I started using the
Doing the
sauna. It
sauna.
started showing it more. But remember, I also started using the sauna around the same time I moved in this house. So I also think the
Yes.
reason it's showing up is because I was living in it and didn't
Well,
know.
and can you imagine if you weren't doing the sauna? This is why I feel like you've even, because that's helped you tremendously. So
Yeah.
can you imagine if you didn't have the sauna moving into the house where you would be? Because you've been functioning. Like when
Yeah.
you lived in the mold before, like when it was under your bed, you couldn't function. You
No.
couldn't walk, you couldn't see patients, nothing.
I couldn't drive
But
my kids to school. I couldn't do
no.
anything. Yeah.
So it's like this, I really feel like that helped you get through this process. I mean, you
Oh,
haven't been
yeah.
100%, but it's just
Oh,
so
yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, I feel okay. Like
Yeah.
I'm a very active person. I exercise
Hmm.
every day. I drive, I do everything. But I just know there was something missing.
Hmm.
I knew something I could feel better than I do. So there's different levels of how you'll be
Yeah.
affected. I think if I was in that room like sleeping,
Oh
I would
yeah.
have been
Way
worse.
more.
So I
Yeah.
think it is really helpful that it was like, on the other side of the house. But my HVAC is, my air unit is blowing mold into my house too. So next week I'm gonna have to. The saga continues. I will be leaving again, and they're going to come in and they don't need to do any new duct work, thank God, because that's
Thank God.
crazy
Yeah.
expensive. But they're going to replace my units. They're going to fog my ducts, and they are going to clean stuff. And then hopefully, I'm going to stay out of the house for a couple days again, just because I'm sensitive. And I think between getting the bathroom done and that closet and getting the two AC units replaced, I should feel like $1,000,000.
I mean, let's hope, girlfriend. It has been a whirlwind for you. And we wanted to share this with you guys because, you can look at practitioners and think, oh, they got all the answers, they do all the things, but it happens to us too, you
Oh
guys.
yeah.
We're just human, just like you.
Yeah, and especially even just having COVID, like I'm
Oh,
fine. I mean, but
yeah.
I don't feel great.
Yeah.
I'm struggling with my energy. I went for a walk. Crystal and I were on the phone when I was walking this morning, and my lungs, I could feel it. So
Yeah. Give yourself
it's
grace.
just, yeah, give yourself grace, let your body heal. Practitioner or not, you're going to have
Yep.
issues. They're going to come up,
Yes.
and then they're going to come, and then you're going to fix them. So I know what to do. I know what to take. I support my immune system. I always eat right. I get
Hmm.
lots of sleep. I don't, personally take medication, certain things like that help me. And doing my sauna I always say it's my number one health hack.
Yes.
Getting in walking, I'm always walking. I lift weights and try to find joy, doing things that make me
Yes.
happy and getting
Your new
outside a
boyfriend.
lot. My new boyfriend.
So cute. Sweet little firefighter.
Oh my gosh. So I posted yesterday. On
Oh,
Valentine's Day, I posted a couple pictures of us, and then the last one was him. It's from a long time ago, but like they make you do these
calendars. Yes.
calendars when you're a firefighter, and I thought he'd laugh. He didn't.
All of us ladies will thank you though back for sharing the
Oh,
goods.
you should read the comments. They're so
I know I
funny.
did. It was so cute. You own it, Jason. You own it.
I know. I'm like, if you want to post me looking hot on your page, feel free.
I know. That's so cute though. But
Yeah.
yeah.
And he took such good care of me when I was sick.
Yeah.
He was sick for 5 minutes and I was sick for a week.
That's how it goes, right? My
Yeah.
gosh. I know. Well, I'm glad you're feeling better, starting to. That was wild. I was like, oh my gosh, she's going down.
I know. I went down hard. Yeah. But I feel I'm good. I mean, I'm on my way up.
Yeah, I know. Life is wild. What else is new? So the kids are doing good?
Yeah. I mean, Levi was sick for a long time too.
Yeah.
Which is so weird. He had the flu, we had COVID,
Mhm.
who knows.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, they're good. They're good. They're happy to be home. And the
Yeah.
dogs are happy to be home. I had to board my dogs for like 10 days.
Bless them. I know, but you weren't functioning. What do you do
Well,
when you
plus I
don't?
wasn't in my house. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I know. It's crazy. What a wild couple weeks for you. So we'll keep you guys posted on everything on the journey of it all, but we were like, we got to share this because this is
Yeah.
too and too close to home with all the things that we talk about and do. So,
Yeah. So, kind of the main points I want you guys to know are listen to your body. If you smell something, there is something. And if
mhm.
10 inspectors tell you there's not, keep
And you still
looking
don't
into
feel
it.
right.
Yeah. If you still smell it and you don't feel right, it is there.
Yeah.
And I'll post some pictures on Instagram and stuff
It's a great
too of
idea.
like what we found behind the walls. And it wasn't like this massive amount. I
Mhm.
mean, but it was enough. I mean, it was enough for
Under
me.
the base, that was crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
Flat. But
Um, so anyway, so yeah, I'll post some of that stuff and we'll put it in the newsletter too.
mhm.
Some
Great
pictures.
idea.
So you guys can kind of just see, what to look for, what to like listen to your body, smelling, all that stuff. And, kind of what I did through this until I got to figure out where it was is I really worked on detox. So the
Mhm.
sauna supporting my liver with the things we've always talked about, like milk thistle and
Mhm.
acetylcysteine, phosphatidylcholine. We like that body bio POC.
It's body bio PC. Yeah.
PC.
Yep.
And then I was doing, D and zinc a lot when I when I was sick, I was doing the nebulizer with silvercillin in it. That really helped me while I was sick. And then, right. And then I do CoQ10 also. That's really helpful. I do fish oils. That's helpful for like the brain fog. So you get a lot of brain fog with mold.
And with
Um,
COVID.
yeah, and with COVID. So and melatonin, I've been doing that. All those things are really good for both mold and COVID. And then
Mhm.
I'm going to jump into more binder now, binder and sweating. So, I'll do binder and my sauna every day. And then, and just so you know, guys, if you can't, the saunas, of course, are expensive, but they
Mhm.
have a dome. And Heidi got
Mhm.
the dome. I forgot what
Did
it's
she?
called. She
I didn't know
loves
that.
it. Yeah,
That's so awesome.
you
Yeah.
lay down and then
Mhm.
there's like a thing that comes over you. And when Zach was on, she was telling us that you can use different heat temperatures on different parts of the body, which is
That's
cool.
great. Yeah.
And so she loves that and it's way less expensive. So that's something you might want
Mhm.
to check out. And we'll link below our link.
Yeah.
And make sure you mention our health babes if you reach out to them because they'll give you a discount.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that is what I'm focusing on now. So I'll do binders for a while because you want to bind up everything that's in your body. I want to bind up all those toxins. And then you have to make sure you're pooping. Don't take a binder if
Yes.
you're not pooping or sweating because sweat, that's how you get it out. And then I will do antifungals also. And I have a whole system that I do that. It's kind of
Yeah.
complicated to say it all right now. But anyway,
She's just
refer
gonna have to
back
go
to that.
slow.
Yeah, refer back to that episode, we talk about that more, and
Mhm.
that's what I'm gonna do for the next few months till I get this stuff, and I'll retest my body and see where I am. So,
Yeah, and we'll keep you guys posted on all of it because it's important, and what better way to show our journey, right? With
mhm.
everything. It's
Yeah.
nuts.
Yeah.
You've been through it, girl, this past month, but I see the rainbow. It's coming through the clouds. We're getting better. What
All
a shit
right.
show is what it is. That's
I
what it is.
know. It is, but I like to be honest, some people
Yes.
pretend that they're never have an issue, and that's just
No,
crazy.
no, not at all. I know.
That's why we haven't had a new episode in a couple weeks also, guys.
Yes. Yes. We've rescheduled some guests, some pretty good guests, which we'll get back on the books,
Yeah.
but we'll get rocking and rolling here again.
Yep. Well, thanks everybody for listening. And you can always reach out to us if you have any topics you want to hear about or any questions about anything we've talked about on this episode. And we hope everyone has a great day.
Bye. We hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you did, if you can pop over and leave a review, that would be awesome. You can also find us over at healthbabes.com, where you can find our courses, our latest book. We also are on Instagram at The Health Babes, at Dr. Becky Campbell, or at Dr. Crystal Home. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.